Well, hello everyone, and welcome here to the Saint Anselm Coaches Show here on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com. Live here at Davison Hall, working with live audio here every Tuesday from noon to 1, and aired Tuesday nights from 5:30 to 6:30. Coming up, head coach Patrick Murphy will talk football in just a moment, as we always do to begin the show. And then we'll hear from the athletic director, Kelly Higgins, stops by, second year on the job. We'll find out how life here on the hilltop has treated Dr. Higgins. Then in the second part, women's soccer, the head coach, Tony Wallis, and junior midfielder, Meredith Martin. First, let's welcome in head football coach, Patrick Murphy. Tough game for the Battle of the Old Bronze Hawks. The Stonehill Skyhawks winning on Saturday by a final of 52-24. St. A's dropping to 0-2. Stonehill evening up things at 1-1. Coach, you just said a few moments ago it was as simple as we just didn't play well.
Yeah, I mean, we did not play well. We didn't execute in the red zone. We moved the ball pretty well. We had just under 400 yards of offense and moved the ball great between the 20s, and didn't execute in the red zone, and didn't execute on third down.
Third down, just 2 for 14. What was the story there?
We had it was 6 drop balls on the day. 5 of the 6 were either on third or fourth down, and of the 6, 1 was for a touchdown that we didn't get, and then another one could have been for a touchdown. So we did not execute. We did not make the simple play in critical down and distances.
And wide receivers, or the wide receiver position, a little bit of a concern after week 1 against Bowie. You felt like they didn't play physical enough, but the drop's really not that big of an issue. It seems like they replaced maybe one problem with another.
Yeah, I think right now that entire core group, which returning has been our most productive group. I think they're just right now overthinking. They're trying to do too much, and they're not making the simple, basic play.
Defense, was it another case of they were on the field just too long?
No, I don't think so at all. I mean, we ran 80 plays to Stonehill's, I think, 73 or so, and it wasn't a matter of that. It was a matter of execution and tackling, and we didn't do either very well, particularly in critical down and distances again.
Kind of the old problem from last year, maybe too many big plays.
Absolutely. That was the story of the day from a defensive perspective. They had one drive, very similar to Bowie. They had one drive that they sustained and punched it in. That was the opening drive of the game, where our kickoff team gave them a short field. They returned it to north of our side of the 50, and that was a 12-play drive for a touchdown. Other than that, it was big plays throughout the game, and we didn't execute.
Hawks lose a tough one on Saturday against Assumption. Coach, your team hung around. Seems like late in the first half the game was still tied, and then a couple of quick scores, really underlining, I think, what we had talked about. But last week you were pleased with the play of your secondary. Did they take a half step back this week?
Yeah, I don't know if they took a step back. They did not play to their potential. I don't think we're going backwards. I think Stonehill presented them with some problems, and they didn't handle them well. It was nothing that we weren't prepared for. It was just a matter of executing again.
Head coach Patrick Murphy joining us, talking about St. A's and their upcoming game, an opportunity to get a win at home as we look ahead and preview New Haven here a little bit. You mentioned a short week. What are those challenges for a coaching staff, having to not only to turn the team around mentally from a road loss, but then get right back out there on Friday? Not a lot of time to get them ready to play.
Absolutely. I mean, everything's condensed. We essentially lose a day of planning, whereas we usually have Monday off from practice, and we spend that day in the office just putting together the game plan. We were out in the field practicing last night, so it took a decent amount of time away, and so we're a little behind to where we normally would be. But the great thing about it, it's a level playing field. New Haven's in the same boat. The difference being is we didn't finish this weekend until 9 o'clock, and New Haven finished at 3. So they got about 6 hours head start on us. But outside of that, It does present some problems. The great thing about it is our guys have handled the adversity well. Had 2 great days of practice so far this week, and we're looking forward to a third today. And the enthusiasm's up, the excitement's up, and guys are focused and ready to go. The attitude of the team has been great.
That's a huge sign, I think. That as we mentioned, this is one of your more veteran groups that you've had here at St. A's. Maybe those guys know how to stay focused and take it 1 week at a time. Do you get that sense overall that they're just looking forward at this point?
Absolutely. Years past, at this point, that guys would be hanging their heads and would be sulking. It would turn into what's in it for me. Our current group, they're doing a great job. The leaders are doing a great job. We're still a very young team in that we're basically a junior team when you take a look at the guys that are on the field. But a lot of those juniors have been playing for 2 or 3 years. So, they're handling it well. Everyone's got a great attitude, and, we're looking forward to New Haven coming to town under the lights and get after them a little bit.
How about the quarterback, Andrew Murphy? Talked a little bit about him last week and how he has been dealing with kind of his own performances and the team's games here early in the season. The numbers from Saturday, 27 of 45, 280 yards and the touchdown. You like that, but again, 2 mistakes. 1 tip, though, interception in the second quarter.
He had 1 bad ball, and that was his interception. The other one is really attributed to a ball that should have been caught, was tipped twice by the same receiver, and then it consequently intercepted. Other than that, he played well. I mean, the numbers, the way current statistics view passing percentage, to me, lie. It's a symbiotic relationship between the quarterback and the receiver. The receivers have 6 drops on accurate balls. So we don't judge him. I go off of in-pocket accuracy number percentage and an out-of-pocket accuracy percentage. That's how I judge it. And he was very high for both of those on Saturday. I thought he did a good job.
Keith Charles certainly did a good job on the ground. 18 carries for the senior running back, 95 yards, an average, though, of 5.3, which is an uptick from week 1. Had a touchdown in that one as well. And also involved in the passing game, 4 grabs and 51 yards and another touchdown. Of course, made some big plays in special team in the return game as well. How big of an early start has he gotten off to, and how important is that, Ben?
Keith's come in, every year he's came in great shape, but he came in phenomenal shape this year. His attention to detail has been phenomenal. He's doing a great job as a leader, and it's really paying dividends for us so far throughout this season. And although it's a very young season, he's getting the job done. He had over 250 yards of all-purpose offense. He had over 140 yards of total offense between rushing and receiving. He's having an all-league caliber season through the first 2.
Head coach Patrick Murphy joining us, talking football here on the St. A's Coaches Show, the Saint Anselm Coaches Show, live here on the Hilltop every Tuesday from 12 to 1, heard on ESPN New Hampshire Tuesday nights 5:30 to 6:30. And St. A's unfortunately 0-2 heading into Friday night's home contest. By the way, tickets still available, of course, for a 7 o'clock kick. And if you can't make it to the game, you can certainly watch it online at StAnselmHawks.tv. Moving forward, Coach, New Haven, tell me a little bit more about the opponent. Traditionally pretty strong.
Yeah, very, very strong team. Definitely a different type of school than we are here at St. A's. They're a huge transfer school. They have transfers from Boston College at linebacker starter for BC the last couple of years. As a grad student for New Haven, they have several starters. On the defensive side of the ball from Division I programs. They have a backup quarterback transfer from North Dakota. They're big, they're strong, they're physical, very talented team, well coached, and they're the returning NE10 champs. Now, a great deal of that team from a year ago has graduated, and a lot of these guys are really playing their 3rd game as a starter there. But they're an exceptionally talented team, and we can't make the mistakes that we made the last 2 weeks, and win.
And is that the key against teams that, on paper at least, are a little bit more athletic?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the key, regardless of who the opponent is.
Right.
And again, this is something we talk about all the time with our guys. Is most games are lost, not won.
Right.
And most games, if you just make the simple play and don't have the self-inflicted wounds of turnovers, of dropped balls, of penalties, you're going to have an opportunity to win the game at the end. At the end.
Is there anything you can do as a coach to kind of solve those things? Or that's all on the players, right? I mean, how do you solve from a coaching staff perspective drops?
It's competition. So bottom line is if the guys on the field aren't getting it done, okay, the guys that are behind them have to push them, and if they're not pushing them, well, hey, we're putting the best guys out there. But the competition level here now is greater than it's ever been. So we have a great group of young receivers. They're chomping at the bit to play. They haven't been ready. They're getting closer to that point. So if the older guys aren't making the plays, we have young guys who want to step in and get it done.
All right, Coach, last couple minutes here. Let's have some fun. Open up things on Twitter. You can tweet at STA Hawks, and they're already rolling in, Coach. I think a lot of these guys familiar with your locker room. One is from the Scan Man. You can find him at the Scan Man. Mike Scannell, of course, one of your converted linemen. It said, if you had to guess how many burritos do you think Mike Scannell had at lunch today, what would you guess?
I would say, knowing Mike Scannell and his appetites, I would say at least 12.
Boy, competing with me on that one. All right, here's one from Air Jorgensen, and I believe that is Joel Jorgensen. Where do you get your hair gel for game day slick back style?
Well,
is that a secret you're ready to reveal?
The women's soccer coach, Tony Wallis, actually has a hair gel shop, and I go exclusively through him.
Does he really?
And it's specialty products only. He's high-end guy, and I only get it through him.
Let's see. A lot here from Mike Scannell. Sounds like quite the personality. If you were to hang out with one player for an extended period of time, who would you want it to be and why?
The most interesting man in college football. It would have to be Stan, the Stanimal Paycook, one of our kickers, and really doesn't need an explanation. If you know him, you know why.
And his nickname is the Animal?
Yeah, no, Stanimal.
Oh, the Stanimal.
The Stanimal,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, even better. And, of course, you can continue to fire those in for Coach Patrick Murphy. But, Coach, I think I'll let you off the hook, at least for this week, and let you get back to practice.
Sounds
it is a short week. Good luck on Friday. We'll be there under the lights on the hilltop. Head coach Patrick Murphy of the Saint Anselm football team joining us here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show here on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com, live on campus here at Davison Hall from noon to 1 every Tuesday, and aired Tuesday nights from 5:30 to 6:30. Coming up, or temporarily, as soon as he makes his way over to the table, we'll hear from second-year athletic director Kelly Higgins. Later on in the show, head women's soccer coach Tony Wallis, who also apparently operates a hair gel shop on the side, will join us, and junior midfielder Meredith Martin. A recap of the week that was, and a preview of the upcoming week in the second half hour as well, as we keep it rolling here. Nick Anastos with you, and now sitting to my right, the big man on campus, athletic director Kelly Higgins. And yes, these are operational.
So you want to put them on?
I think Coach didn't want to mess up the hair gel. That's why he passed on them.
I have too little. I don't care.
Kelly Higgins here. His second year on the hilltop as AD. How's it going in year two?
Well, I think it's going pretty good. I think a special kudos to the staff volleyball match last night. We won 2-0.
The staff volleyball match.
Staff volleyball. We had a scintillating team here. I couldn't jump. I couldn't run, but everybody else was hitting the ball well.
Oh, I'm sure they stuck you around the neck or the net. And
I think they want to stick me around the neck is what they wanted to do. Certainly not the net. But, yeah, it was fun. We had a good time, and things going well. Thanks, Nick.
I don't think, Kelly, we've ever had you here on this show, right?
No.
All right. Well, let's...
we worked a deal last year to get you guys online with us, but we never actually got me on the show.
That's right.
I'm used to that in my past. I did a little PA. I've done a little color broadcasting with radio for games.
Right.
I get a kick out of that because I really don't have to know anything. I just make funny comments.
Right. You've got
I'm kind of like Golick on Mike and Mike in the morning.
Absolutely.
Make stupid funny comments as an old football player.
Absolutely. Well, you are an old athlete from your days back in college. You were a pitcher. And, of course, as a professional, you spent some time really all over the place, including out in Alaska.
Yeah.
What is your background, and how did that prepare you to take this job last year?
Geez, my background, how it prepared me to take this job. My background is actually out of Omaha. 13 years of Catholic schools, and growing up with a father who was an AD and a legendary coach as well. So that's my primary background is my father's background as a coach, Hall of Famer, athletic director.
And what did he coach?
He coached football, basketball,
everything,
baseball, track, women's, girls basketball. He has state championships in football, boys, girls basketball, track and field, baseball. And not golf. I was on the golf team too, but not
those
golf.
are big shoes to fill.
Yeah, he had big shoes. They're about size 16s. I'm only about 13s. But that's my primary background. It came from there, from my family and my parents. So, one of 8 kids and great family in Omaha, Cathedral High School.
Dr. Kelly Higgins joining us, second-year athletic director here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. What about St. A's really got you interested?
Well, I think it was a challenge of St. A's. Here's a Division II school with an ice hockey team that has some challenges for possibilities of success. The challenge of creating an option and a niche for ice hockey and how we can get them their opportunities to move forward in NCAAs sometime in the future. A beautiful Catholic campus, Benedictine. I knew that. And like I said, I grew up more Jesuit and Dominicans in Omaha. And we were attached to live very close to Creighton University. So our background was somewhat similar. Working in Catholic schools most of my life. My parents moved most of their lives. So that's what attracted me here. That was the first attraction. It was a chance to work in Catholic schools again. And I even went to our family priest and now superintendent of Omaha Catholic Schools, Monsignor Gilg, and asked him, what's the attachment, what's the attraction that can help me out, and what do I need to know about working in the Benedictine school versus Jesuits or the Franciscans or the Dominicans that I was all used to. And he says, just keep in mind one thing, Kelly. Working with and these Jesuits, keep in mind one thing. Benedictine's decision-making model is a little slower than the Jesuits go. And just keep that one thing in mind, and you'll probably be happy in life there. I think you'll enjoy yourself. So that's pretty much it's a model I keep in mind. It's not something I always stand by personally because I like the ready fire aim mentality sometimes. Get prepared, take some action, and then try to fine tune it.
Right. And so, that works though in athletics.
It does. A lot of ways. That's pretty much is the model of athletics.
Right.
You teach, you show, you do, and then you refine.
Right.
You try to get better, but in essence, in athletics, you have to do something. You have to take action. At some point, you have to act.
Right.
That's in any business, in any profession. You have to act, and athletes are taught that they have to act, but they have to think about how they're supposed to act first. They have to know what they're supposed to do. They have to practice what they're supposed to do after they've been shown what they're supposed to do. Then they have to try doing it, and when they don't do it quite right, they go back and refine that skill.
Try again.
That's exactly right. Let's try again.
Right.
It's like Tiger Woods keeps trying this year again. I'm a fan of Tiger, but he's missing the boat here in this fourth round, the last few times out.
Dr. Kelly Higgins joining us here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. What have you liked the most here during your 15 or so months on the hilltop?
50 or so months. I think mostly it's working with student athletes here. Some great staff. The willingness to change, the willingness to look at things differently, the willingness to try and become better than what they have been, and the willing to embrace my thoughts and my ideas a little bit. I think this is like I said, a tremendous school with tremendous challenge, with tremendous opportunities for success. And I think men's basketball reached for it last year and got extremely close.
Right.
They hit a great goal and got accomplished a tremendous amount, and then had one poor outing, and they fell short of what their ultimate goals were. I think that could be reached this year. I think what I see is that possibility for almost all of our teams in some way, shape, or form to succeed at levels they haven't done before. So I think what I like is the students. What I like is the staff that are here that are committed to this mission and this vision of an institution and excellence in athletics and academics, that combination. And St. Anselm kind of embodies that idea of Division II balance.
Right. Students
and athletics and service and community.
Right. And traditionally, St. A's has been able to achieve a lot of that.
Correct.
For sure, because that's kind of the reputation here in Manchester and the surrounding areas, is that balance of academics and competitive athletics as well. So you've got here in 2013, 2014, I think some teams across the board that, again, are ready to make that next step. Agreed?
Yeah, several of the teams are actually making that move. You've got several of the women's sports that have done quite well. I think women's lacrosse is on the cusp. Men's soccer is off to a great start. Women's soccer is done very well right now. It's a very good team, very well coached. Volleyball has made a great start this fall. Field hockey is better than their record shows because they played arguably two of the better teams in all Division II already,
Right.
between LIU Post and Merrimack. But I like where some of those things are moving right now. Specifically right now, just feel the fall sports right now. Women's cross country had a great opening run their first time out in third place. Mostly conference schools, and the men's team is a little thinner than they were from last year when it comes to competition, but that's a growing team.
Yep.
Paul Finn's a great coach, so
Right.
I see a lot of things starting to move in the right direction, and those things take time. I think if we can keep this slope of success constantly on the rise,
Right.
I think over the course of the next few years, I think you'll see a tremendous amount of success athletically on top of what's already on the academic side of this picture here. Because you look at the academic side here, one of the best academic success rates in all Division II in the United States. One, NA10 has a history of that with the schools in this league, but our 91% is tremendous. And you don't see that anywhere across the country except in here.
It's on the student athletes to improve their game in the classroom,
Right.
to improve the teams on the field or on the court. It's up to the coaches, obviously, to make the right decisions and to nurture those players. What can athletic administrators do on a season-to-season basis to help that growth?
Well, you set standards, expectations, policies, put things in place that allow the students to be better athletes, policies in place that allow students to be better students, to be better people. And so that sometimes that means infrastructure, coaches, resources, staffing in the right places, schedules put together the right way, conference affiliations put together the right way, making sure you've hired the right coaches. Because in all honesty, in my opinion, a long time, a great team is never a great team unless they have great coaching.
Right.
Never.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think you can have all the best talent in the world does not succeed on a team sport. It doesn't happen. You can look across America and you can look at any public large institution, the football, the basketball side, or baseball. Great talent doesn't win anything. Great talent can win it all with great coaches.
Right. Absolutely.
I think that's that battle. If you look at Nebraska fighting with their own fans, fighting with Bo Pelini right now. Honestly, that's almost a bad example because they're talking about a 2-year-old tape after an Ohio State game.
Right.
Was that inappropriate by Bo? Absolutely, no brainer. Should have even brought up as a topic today? No, it shouldn't.
Right. It's 2 years old.
That's a 2-year-old tape.
Right.
And for that perspective, I think fans need to walk away from that bit. But it's that coaching part that people get stuck on. The coach makes the team.
Right.
Coaches can, if they have the proper tools, the proper resources, which allows them to get the right students to the right school and the right mix. Great coaches get that, and they succeed.
Kelly Higgins with me, a self-proclaimed, I'm sure, Nebraska fan. You do cheer for the Cornhuskers openly or no?
Sometimes, no. They didn't recruit me to play football, so I don't openly recruit.
So still holding a grudge.
I'm still holding a grudge against Tom Osborne. He wanted me to walk on, and I needed a scholarship, so I went to South Dakota to play ball for my scholarship.
Oh, there you go.
Just a personal thing here. So.
Well, you get to unleash some of that aggression in staff events like the volleyball game. So.
Yeah, but I wasn't wearing red last night. I was wearing blue. I probably should have worn red for the blood that was coming out of my knee and the pain I was in.
All right. Any last words here? What's coming up over the weekend? I'll see you on Friday night at the football game.
See you Friday night football game. We got a busy weekend. We got games this afternoon.
Right.
A very busy afternoon. I'm not sure if you already walked that schedule or not.
That's another thing for an athletic director. You must be at all kinds of games, basically 7 days a week, right?
Well, it can be 7 days a week, and obviously you like to get to all of them. You can't get to all of them.
Right.
You try to pick and choose where you should be at because they got great staff, and they're there making sure things are running right as part of administration. But as part of what you like to see what everyone's doing, both home and away, and so that when you have a day like today when you have 3 events going off at exactly about the same time, it's really not sometimes that hard to work for me. It's harder on Eric or in Tyler, or the management staff who run the games. It could be Carolyn, it could be Nick, it could be someone who's running these games. It gets to be pretty complex. We just got to make sure the parts are in place, and so everyone's ready.
Right.
The officials are there. We got a clock ready. We have the water's up on time. Someone's operating the stats. Everything's ready to go.
Got to be organized, bottom line.
Somewhat organized. I'm more organized at work than I clearly am at home.
Well, you don't have time to be organized at home.
No, at home, if you get home at night, I've had a long day, a nice glass of Bogle Merlot, and you can sit back and relax a little bit. But yeah, I think the biggest part sometimes, my enjoyment is going to watch the matches, the games.
Right.
Go out the golf course with the team, go watch them play hockey. That's my thrill.
Right.
Because I can't get that thrill anymore. I can ski with the ski team because I'm pretty decent.
Can you?
But I can't play football no more. I can't throw a pitch 90 miles an hour anymore.
Right.
I can't high jump.
But you can spike a volleyball.
Because that net is so low, I didn't have to jump very high. And being 6'5" has an advantage. Well, yeah, that's my thrill. You have to go out and see the kids have a chance to succeed and be there and try to help them when there's a problem help them with a problem if it's caused by something that the league or I as an athletic director can help fix.
Right.
Give them an opportunity to succeed in the future, or just be there to cheer. Because I know this is what it's more of it helps me a lot, but I know they like to see the athletic director show up because they know I care, and I do.
Right.
And that's the hardest part. The hardest part is getting to them all, and that's the most fun part.
But it's a rewarding experience.
Very rewarding experience because, in all honesty, I got into this business because I wanted to try to fix the mistakes I made on myself when I was a college student. It is, why did I take so long to get my degree? Why did I make these mistakes? I may have had a lot of fun, but I think I know the pitfalls that I fell into and how to keep people from getting there again.
Right. And
how I can help shape the ability to actually create a successful situation for teams now. And sometimes that doesn't make me the favorite person of a coach or a student athletes. I hope it does.
You have to play the parent in that kind of situation.
I hope at times it does make me that they like what I've done, but that's not my goal.
Right.
My goal is not always to make the parent happy.
Right.
I hope it is. And the long-term success for the student.
But either way,
you're
going to do what's right for
the students, for the team, the program, the institution, and also in the long run, it's the NCAA, because we're all part of the NCAA. We all talk about this big amorphous thing called the NCAA. They did this, they did that. No. We are all the NCAA. We vote the rules in.
Right.
We supply committees by members who have volunteered from the various institutions to set rules and sit on committees and act on behalf of us. This is like the Republic, the United States, which is a republic, not a democracy, a republic. Right. We elect people to go act on our behalf. And so those members who act on our behalf at the NCAA as committee members, they make these rules.
Right.
The NCAA staff applies them. That's their job. They're acting on our behalf.
Right.
So I always think people got to keep that in mind. It's not them acting against us. It's us
collectively making
these decisions, acting them to implement. So I think that's a very important thing to keep out there when they talk about acting about the NCAA should do this, or Jay Bill is saying we should do this, and so we should pay athletes here and do. No, it's not the NCAA. It's us making these rules.
Right, absolutely.
And that's why I like that part. That's the part I can take part in.
Good stuff.
It is.
Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Oh, I can talk forever, Nick.
You need your own show is what you need. Well, that's Dr. Kelly Higgins.
Thanks.
A very passionate and very knowledgeable athletic director in year number 2 here on the Hilltop. On the other side, we'll talk women's soccer with head coach Tony Wallis, junior midfielder Meredith Martin also joins the show. We'll recap the week that was and preview the upcoming week as well. It's all on the way here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com. Well, welcome back here to the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. Nick Anastos with you here on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com, live from Davison Hall every Tuesday at noon, and then heard on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com at 5:30 to 6:30. Special thanks to head football coach Patrick Murphy for joining me in the first half hour. Also, second-year athletic director Dr. Kelly Higgins, head women's soccer coach Tony Wallis to my right. We'll speak to him in just a moment. Junior midfielder Meredith Martin to follow here on Saint Anselm, the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. And, of course, Saint Anselm features 20 NCAA Division II programs, most of which compete in the highly competitive Northeast 10 Conference. There's over 100 home events, plenty of chances to catch the Hawks in action. If you can't make it to the game, log on to SaintAnselmHawks.com. Follow along with free live stats for every home game, or better yet, be sure to check out SaintAnselmHawks.tv for live video broadcasts of every football, basketball, and hockey game, as well as other select events throughout the year. Joining me now is head women's soccer coach, Tony Wallis. Joining me, a longtime head coach, 7 years now on the job. Prior to that, 2 years as an assistant. Welcome aboard.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now, you were telling me a moment ago you came by way of New Mexico. Tell me a little bit about your journey.
I moved out here just out of high school and came out to New England, which is where my folks grew up here. My father went to Dartmouth, my mom went to Brown, and I came back to New England. They stayed out west, and been here ever since and love it, wouldn't leave.
Love to hear that kind of an answer. Absolutely. I assume that you played soccer at some point.
Actually, no. Growing up, I was a ski racer, and I got involved with soccer when my kids were very young, and I fell in love with the game. And I played some as a young adult, but I became a student of the game, and I started working with coaches and different people to learn the game and study it. And I've been coaching for almost 30 years now, and it's been fantastic.
You were a ski racer.
Yes.
Once had an offer to ski race in college. You turned it down. Why?
Yeah, I was young and stupid. Pretty simple.
Do you regret that at this point?
No, not really. I'm here, and I've been here for, like I say, for almost 30 years, and especially ending up at a place like Saint Anselm, it's fantastic.
Talk a little bit more about the team with you in just a moment. Of course, we'll speak to one of your juniors, Meredith Martin, in just a couple minutes as well. But I want to first highlight your work with Team Impact. And for those who don't know what Team Impact is all about, it's college teams hooking up with children in need and basically adopting that child as a member of the team, not once, not twice, but throughout the year. Josie is a 13-year-old blind child who has been working for you now for 2 years. Tell me a little bit more about Josie and Team Impact.
Josie is a part of our team. It's that simple. She has her own jersey. She comes to as many home games as she can. She does a lot of things in the off season with the kids as well. They go to ice cream and hang out with her, and she comes to visit as often as she can get down here. It's a win-win situation. My girls get a lot out of it, and Josie gets a lot out of it as well. She's a very unique young lady. Our very first experience with her when she came to our game at New Haven, or at home against New Haven last year, the girls had asked me to have her sing the national anthem, and I said, oh God, there's a 12-year-old that wants to sing the national anthem. This is going to be scary. And we were standing on the field as the national anthem music started to play, and she starts to sing, and she's incredible. She has an amazing voice. We were all shocked at how good she was, and actually she does a lot of things. She sang at a Red Sox game earlier this spring, so her singing is definitely a love of hers.
Talking about Team Impact with women's soccer coach Tony Wallis here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. The fact that your students, still at an impressionable age, I think, in life, in their early 20s, late teens, get to work hand in hand with somebody like Josie, who is blind and obviously at a disadvantage. I think that's a great, really character-building experience for young student athletes.
Oh, I agree. And the kids on the team have a tremendous quality of character about them. I think that's something that the school attracts is quality of character kids. All of the girls have been really good with Josie, and we've been involved in a lot of different community activities outside of Team Impact where our kids are all certified top soccer coaches. Top Soccer is a soccer program for kids with special needs, young kids, and my assistant coach Julie Humsley runs that for the state of New Hampshire. And we did a fundraiser last year for a victim of the Newtown shootings in Connecticut, and we've also been very involved with an assistant coach, or the coach from AIC. His son is Max, had a heart transplant, just recently, and we've been supporting Max. In fact, we're going to be wearing jerseys this Saturday when we play AAIC that are red jerseys that say Mighty Max Hard on the jerseys. We're all going to wear those for the warm-up. So the kids are very involved in community things like that, and I think it helps them realize how unfortunate some people are and how fortunate they are.
Right, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit now about your team. And let's start from scratch, because I'll self-admit I don't know too much about women's soccer in general. Tell me a little bit about this group.
It's a very good group. We're very talented from top to bottom. We don't have a dynamic special player that's going to go out and change a game by herself, but we're from top to bottom, it's the most talented group I've ever had.
Really?
Absolutely. And all these kids come from high-level club teams. We don't have kids that walk on from a high school team. They all come from very competitive club teams. And the NE10 is probably the best women's conference in the country. Last year we had a game here against St. Rose, who at the time was ranked number 1 in the country and was undefeated. Coming into the game, we came away with a 1-1 draw, and we were just as good as they were on the day. So we can compete with anybody.
Have you seen growth not only here at St. A's, but in the Northeast 10 Conference when it comes to women's soccer?
Absolutely. I know when I first started, there were some games that you looked at on the schedule and went, okay, that's a 5-0 win. And those aren't there anymore.
Right.
It doesn't matter who you play, whether it's a team that's in last place or the team's in first place. If you don't show up, you're going to get beat. And the level of play has really is very, very good across the conference.
How have you grown in your 9 years here as a coach?
Tremendously. I'm always looking to learn. We have something here that we talk with our girls a lot about called it's an acronym FAT. It has nothing to do with eating stuff out of the Davison here. It's called faithful, available, and teachable. And the kids are always faithful to their teammates, respect to the institution and to the coaching staff, available to be the best they can be, and always have a teachable spirit. And that's something that they always keep in mind in their everyday life, not only in soccer but outside of soccer. And so we're always getting better every year. We have meetings with the kids to say, hey, what'd you like about this season? What didn't you like? How can we improve? What can we do? So we never stand pat as a coaching staff, or I want my players to stand pat as well.
Really, the common theme that I hear amongst the different head coaches and staff members here at St. A's, it's always, in the end, about recruiting, as you said, quality kids.
Yep.
Kids that understand, kids that give back, kids that are appreciative. And whether or not that oftentimes or not translates into on-field success, they're still, I think, prepared for life when they leave St. Anselm's. Is that something that's cautious in your mind that you look for in recruits, is maybe what they've done in high school from a charitable aspect?
Yeah, and also when I meet a recruit, I get to know them and talk to them and find out and try my best guess to see what kind of person are they. Are they worried about just them? How's their attitude? How do they carry themselves?
And how can you determine that in
an
interview? Are there things you look for in answers maybe?
I think it's maybe being a bit humble, not being overly confident.
Right.
There's just a vibe you get when you talk to kids, and you can get a feel for kind of the character and where they're at.
Saint Anselm Coaches Show here on the Hilltop, recorded live every Tuesday from noon to 1 here at Davison Hall. You can hear it on ESPN and on ESPN.com from 5:30 to 6:30. This year, Coach, a 1-2-1 start. You roll your eyes?
Yeah, frustrating. Yeah, we played very well in our last two games. Gave up a late goal in overtime on Friday with just a mistake, and had many chances to finish, and played a New Haven team over the weekend that's going to be top 3 or 4 in the conference, have some very talented players, but we played with them every step of the way. We just got to finish our chances.
Well, good stuff, and best of luck. What's coming up
we've got
docket?
Bentley on Wednesday at home, which is it's a big game for us, and then AIC on Saturday at home as well. So hopefully we get a lot of people out to watch the games.
Good stuff. Head soccer coach Tony Wallis joining us. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you very much.
Well, made his way up from New Mexico. Not many original New Mexico residents make their way up here to New Hampshire. Always good to talk with somebody from the Southwest. Next up, Meredith Martin, a junior from Victor, New York, which is near Rochester, New York. Had to battle an ACL injury a year ago. Only played one game as a sophomore, but is back and healthy and joining me here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. Welcome aboard.
Thank you for having me.
Well, where do we want to start here? With team impact, I think is really kind of the highlight here. But before we get into that and a little bit more on your teammates, tell me a little bit more about yourself. You were a three-sport star in high school, but ended up picking women's soccer and winding up here in Manchester, New Hampshire.
You know, I looked at a lot of schools throughout the East Coast and just deciding between D1, D2. Didn't really know what I wanted. Growing up in Rochester, it was a great soccer community. We had Abby Wambach from Pittsford,
Really?
The town next to me. She's always been a great role model for not just the people in our area, but the people, all the girls, all women athletes throughout the country.
Did you get a chance to know her?
We actually have a good personal connection.
Really?
So my mom works with her sister, and our head varsity coach in high school was in Abby was in her wedding.
Wow.
So we had a lot of connections, but just to be able to have somebody to look up to growing up, I think was a nice kickstart to a career. So It's been really good.
Meredith Martin joining us. Coach said it, it's not like you graduate high school from down the road and walk on here at St. Anselm. You have to have some chops, so to speak, some background, especially with some of these club teams. You played for, I think it was all-grader Rochester team, or tell me a little bit more about playing not only for high school, but for playing for some of these clubs and in these tournaments and how big they are at the high school level.
I think women's soccer, like many other women's sports post Title IX, has grown into quite the community. There's definitely a lot more opportunities for women nowadays, and being able to get yourself, kind of marketing yourself into that college career has really been great for a lot of people. St. A's definitely attracts, like Coach says, a great character of people.
Mm-hmm.
I think the kids really have good hearts, and it's not just all about athletics, which some schools, all D1 is just soccer all the time.
Is that one of the reasons you chose Division II? Not to quote the slogan, but
yes,
is that true? It's true. It's true in your case.
Yes, definitely. I think the coaches at this great community have definitely taken the student athlete to the next level. You can be not just an athlete, but you can also have an academic career. In 10 years, not all of us are going to be professionals, but we're going to have that background of academic stability that's going to enable us to go into the future careers. So
Meredith Martin joining us, junior midfielder from Victor, New York, back from an ACL injury. You're telling me that's in the past now. You're 100% healthy.
100% healthy, back with my family, so to speak here. Being from kind of far away, it's nice to have 26 girls and 3 coaches to call your family. So, I'm sure that there were times last year where you needed them. Battling an injury that certainly is tough to come back from in any sport, especially in a sport like soccer. What was it like rehabbing back from that knee injury? I think the biggest thing I can take away from it is that the team will always be there for you. You have ups and downs, setbacks, minor pull-throughs, and every day is a challenge, but having those people near you is really what got me through. I would not have been able to do it. And as I said, the student-athlete part of this great community has also helped. It wasn't just always about soccer all the time. I learned a lot more about academics as well as combining the athletic part of that. So I feel blessed to be back with such a great group of girls and coaches. Talking women's soccer here with junior Meredith Martin on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. Tell me a little bit more about Josie, the team impact child that is from nearby Concord, blind. It's the second year as a part officially of the women's soccer team. What's she like? I know she can sing, but what else about her is remarkable? Josie just has a great spirit about her. I think that when she joined our team, we all, as many athletes do, they have the opportunity to complain about a lot of things in their life. Once she came to a part of our team, she's given us a lot of things to put into perspective. She captures that spirit that we all need, and she goes through a lot of things. We know that, and she's always there for us, so we're always there for her as well.
Yeah, it seems like an eye-opening experience.
Definitely, yes.
For sure, that really pays dividends, I think, down the road. You also work with a lot of youth programs. The soccer team does, I guess, in general. And there's also going to be some youth introductions at some of these local games. Tell me about that.
I think that'll be good. I think the sport of soccer is really growing, and to have the youth involved and to see them kind of see futuristically what they're capable of is a great thing to look into their future for, and also it's a great support for us as well.
Absolutely. Coach just said the first 4 games of the season, a 1-2-1 record, have been frustrating. You agree?
I think every game is a new thing to learn from. We have had, as many teams do, a little bit of setbacks, but nothing that's going to set our season back. I think the outlook is really a great one for this season. We have depth at every position. It's a competitive league, but I really think our chances are looking great. We're a strong team. The chemistry off the field is really helping to build the chemistry on the field, it's been a really successful first couple weeks. But
who are some of the leaders on the team?
I think our senior class has done a really good job, including our 3 captains, of not just providing the leadership to us as younger members, but they've been through the 4 years. They've shown how they can lead on and off the field, and being able to look up to them, they kind of trickle down that leadership to the younger girls as well.
Good stuff. I noticed you were a communications major. You are a communications major. What do you hope to do when you leave here?
I really enjoy fashion, so I hopefully go into fashion marketing, but whatever
fashion marketing.
Yeah,
sounds
maybe combining the love of sports with fashion, but I'm not sure yet.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Wish you well and good luck this year.
Thank you so much for
Meredith
having me.
Martin, the junior from Victor, New York, joining us here on the Saint Anselm Coaches Show. Good stuff. All right, let's run down quickly here the recap of the past week. We know about football. They unfortunately lost the battle for the Old Bronze Hawk against Stonehill 52-24. They are right back at it at home coming up on Friday night against New Haven. Women's soccer, they dropped a pair of games this week to Mercy 1-0 and New Haven 2-0. The Hawks battled the Mavericks Friday afternoon, lost 4 minutes into the overtime frame after dominating the field for most of the contest. Against the Chargers, Kristen McGray took 3 shots and Rachel Gillies took 6, but neither player was able to get the ball past the New Haven goaltender. In her 45 minutes between the posts against New Haven, goaltender Cassie Quattropani made 6 saves. Field hockey, 0-2 this last week, dropped a 5-1 decision at Merrimack on Tuesday, and then opened conference play with a 5-0 loss against LIU Post on Saturday. Senior Elizabeth Sears scored just 2 minutes and 24 seconds into the Merrimack contest to give the Hawks an early lead, but the Warriors would take a 2-1 lead into the break and then pile on 3 more in the second half. LIU Post looked to be a scoreless deadlock heading into the half, but Pioneers notched the game's first goal with 19 seconds on the clock in the opening half and then added 4 more in the second stanza. Sophomore goaltender Shauna Whittemore made a career-high 15 saves against Merrimack and stopped 24 of 34 during the week. Men's soccer won its only game of the week, taking down Assumption 2-0 in the shutout victory. Ian Thoreau scored a goal and added an assist, had 3 points. Drew Cooper added 1 tally. Last week, St. Anselm lost to the Greyhounds in the Catholic Cup final and battled back this week to shut them out and begin conference play at 1-0. Senior goaltender Mark Kutsopoulos made 5 saves in net for a 1.0 GAA and a .833 save percentage on the season. The volleyball team went 2-2 this past week. They dropped a 3-2 heartbreaker to Southern New Hampshire on Tuesday, but battled back to go 2-1 on their road trip to Felician Queens and Post. Senior Kyla Gustafson led the Hawks on their trip to New York by posting double figures in both kills and digs in 2 out of 3 matches. Gustafson took control in the first match on Saturday against Felician with 19 kills with 14 digs and continued momentum into the second half against Queens with 13 more kills and 14 digs. The Hawks also saw offensive production from freshman Brenna Gladwell against Queens, who chipped in with 13 kills of her own. Cross country, St. A's men's and women's teams both took part in the 10-team Bruce Kirsch Cup on Saturday morning at Franklin Pierce, paced by senior Joanna Martzik. Sixth place finish in a time of 22:23. The women placed third with 81 points. The men finished seventh with 181 points, as sophomore Kevin Morris was 23rd at 18:45. Jason Lucier led the Hawks to a sixth-place finish in golf with his two-day score of 150 at the Northeast Challenge held at Mount Sunapee Golf Club, hosted by Southern New Hampshire and Bentley. As a team, St. Anselm shot 616 with a 308 on both days of play. Lucier's 78 on Saturday, coupled with his 72 on Sunday, led him to a score of 150 for an 11th place overall finish. Just behind Lucier, in 14th place overall, was Joseph Fitzsimmons, who carded a 72 on Saturday, 79 on Sunday, for a total of 151. Billy Curley placed third for the Hawks and 24th overall with his two-day total of 157. Tim Grossman carded an 80 on day one and improved with a 78 on Sunday for his total of 158, 29th place overall. Jack Ball rounded out the St. A's golfers with a 40th place overall finish, shooting 169. The Hawks take the fairways again September 20th at the Long Island Shootout at Long Island National Golf Club. Next week, we will talk field hockey with head coach Carolyn King. Every Tuesday, log on to ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com at 5:30 to hear the show. And, of course, it's recorded live here at Davidson Hall on the Hilltop every Tuesday from noon to 1. Special thanks to head football coach Patrick Murphy for joining me in the first half hour. Special thanks as well to athletic director Dr. Keith Higgins, women's head soccer coach Tony Wallis, and junior midfielder Meredith Martin for joining me. Also, thank you to Tyler Fleming and Eric Copeland, also Mackenzie Frazier of the St. Anselm Athletic Department, and our producer back at the ESPN New Hampshire studio, Tom Rowe. My name is Nick Anastos, saying so long. This has been the Saint Anselm Coaches Show right here on ESPN New Hampshire and ESPNNewHampshire.com.